And so without further ado, I'd like to hand over to the President, Mr. Umar Kremlev, just to expand on that and give us his vision for the golden era moving forwards.
Добрый день, уважаемые господа, братья и сестры. Я очень рад, что здесь очень много чемпионов сидят в зале, чемпионов и по боксу, и чемпионы, которые болеют за бокс развития. И хочется сказать, что наша задача сделать так, что каждый боксер должен знать, что IBA – это его боксерский дом. И где бы боксер ни находился, в какой точке мира и в какую бы сложность он ни попал, IBA, он может обратиться к IBA, IBA всегда поможет, протянет руку и поможет. Это главная наша задача. И также мы понимаем, что мы должны создать такие условия, когда мама, родители отдают своего ребенка в бокс, они должны понимать, что ребенок получит социальный лифт не на словах, а реально получит социальный лифт. И он сможет обеспечить себя, свое будущее. Я думаю, дальше передадим нашему, тут у нас чемпионы, много кто будет говорить, мы больше расскажем про саму IBA наш, у нас создается экосистема, больше генеральный секретарь расскажет сегодня, новый формат турнира это IBA Knuckle. Почему кулачка? Потому что раньше были кулачные бои, это история бокса. Из-за этого мы должны, как международная ассоциация, регулировать и кулачные бои, так как это сегодня популярно, и это история бокса. Сперва начиналась, была кулачка, а потом бокс. И мы, конечно, сделали титул чемпиона мира по IBA Knuckle, чтобы спортсмены могли участвовать. Кто-то в боксе достигается, кто-то в кулачных боях будет достигать. Наша главная задача – создавать условия для спортсменов. Мы это делаем. И также для болельщиков бокса, для самих боксеров мы сделали игру IBA. Тоже будет презентация, где каждый любитель бокса может играть. И для людей с ограниченными возможностями, чтобы они могли тоже участвовать. И там также будут призовые, как на чемпионатах мира у нас призовые. И также в игре то же самое будет. Чемпион IBA по игре также будет получать призовые, как и в реальном турнире. А может и захотят потом в реальном турнире выступить.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. And the things you mentioned towards the end there, of course, are things that we will get to with presentations throughout the course of this lunchtime. So now I'll hand over to you, Chris, to Chris Roberts, OBE Secretary General and CEO of the IBA, just to talk a bit more maybe about the amateur side of things currently.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Firstly, I'd like to, it's a great crowd. I'd like everyone just to give a round of applause to the President here because he's done an absolutely sterling job for the past few years. So I'd just like to give a round of applause for the President and the work that he's doing. Transitional. IBA is a full hybrid. We've got an ecosystem, a hybrid organisation that manages from schoolboys, schoolgirls, right the way up through to professional boxing. And as the President has just said, we're now moving into IBA Bare Knuckle. We've got boxing game. We've got other things going on in the background. But the ecosystem is to provide a platform of success for our kids of tomorrow that can come into the ring and see the stars here on the TV competing up to world champion. And we see our friend Mr. Tyson here. Great to have everybody in and looking at the capacity of IBA. And we talk about the operational capability. The operational capability of our organisation is huge. And we're not here to prove anything to anybody. We just go out there and we do it. Amateur boxing is happening. It's happening all over the world. It goes across all 5 corners of the globe. 5 corners being all continents. And this for us is important. It's important why? Because it's the bread and butter of tomorrow. The boxers come into the stage and we're providing those conditions, moving forward with continental championships, world championships. We've got world championships happening this year in Dubai, back end of the year, which ties in with our Congress. And what you'll see is the build-up process towards that with all of these events. The IBA Golden Era, Andy, is something that we've been doing for a while. We're moving forward now. We have projects everywhere, and it's about bringing all of this together. It's about collecting the projects and creating those conditions so that everybody can see and be part of it. And that's why we've come together today. You'll see a fantastic press conference with lots to discuss. Also as well, the event tonight, which I know Al's going to talk about. Al's doing a great job in the background there, pushing forward with IBA Pro, big connectivity and doing a great job. And of course, for the amateur side, we continue to work hard. We continue to do our thing. We continue to support national federations. You saw the snapshot on the screen earlier about the 25 million that's been brought into this organization by Umar. And we've rolled that out and we've given that out to our national federations to support them, those countries that don't have anything. We roll the money out there, we help them with their events, we help them with the competitions, and we push equipment out. We've got some excellent sponsors who support the work that we do. And this is the thing that we're moving forward. I see presidents in the crowd here of our national federations supporting the work we do. And the staff are working extremely hard in the background. We put all of this together, and the calendar is currently being developed. I was discussing yesterday with Umar about the calendar up and beyond past 2028, past the Olympic Games and beyond. The World Championships and the work that we do towards that and the elite boxers that you see here creates a platform that gives our boxers the opportunity to pull through from amateur boxing to professional. And I spoke with Terrence about this when we were in, where were we? Yeah, we were talking about it and the opportunities that he had or didn't have as a youngster. And look at him now. If we'd have provided that for him, he would have been even a bigger star. And of course, you know, this is something that we want to do for our children of tomorrow. So lots going on in IBA, lots to do. You're going to see lots of information continuing to come out. Check the website, lots of PRs going out there discussing what we're doing. And, we look forward to continuing the success and the future and work that we're doing now with our kids, as I say, of tomorrow and the elite boxers. So, Andy, onwards and upwards for IBA, yeah? We're just going. We just do our thing. We just do our thing. And it's the best. Look, my golden era.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks very much. That's kind of the perfect segue, actually, into having a chat with you, Zinat, because Chris was talking about providing the right conditions for fighters there and supporting national federations who don't have too much of a background or infrastructure in elite international competition themselves. And you know all about that because you, as I said, on your ring walk, you're trailblazing boxing for Bangladesh. So why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got into boxing and how you now find yourself here?
Thank you, Andy. Wow, what a privilege to be here. I just want to kick off by just saying to be amongst present, past, future superstars, it's a huge boxing career highlight for myself. Thank you to IBA for the invite and for being on this panel to share my story and giving me the platform to share it. I had a unique story. I started boxing at the age of 27 with no prior experience in playing any sports. I picked it up as a hobby, and 3.5 years later, 37 fights, 9 medals later, I'm here today. The former half of my career, thank you. The former half of my boxing career, I started in the US. I live and train out of New York City. And then the second half, I now represent Team Bangladesh. The goal really is to do what, you had mentioned, Chris. It's to be in the forefront for a country like Bangladesh, which is a developing country, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the funds. I got introduced by IBA and some of the personnel within IBA through some of the tournaments that I was invited to, because of some of the prize monies that I ended up winning, was able to invest that back into my training. Everything up until today has been self-funded. I tell people that my corporate job is actually funding my very expensive hobby, which is boxing. But things that IBA is now offering is allowing me to take the step further. And I'm able to see a potential to hopefully win in the Women's World Championship in 2026 or participate in the 2028 LA Olympics. But if it wasn't for these resources and opportunities, I wouldn't be able to do that.
I just need to ask you, this has been a huge topic, obviously, in the last year or so in international elite amateur boxing, the question of gender eligibility in female boxing. It's complex. It is a complex issue and a very, very important one. Just give us your thoughts on it, on what has happened over the last year or so. And as an active participant, what is the most important thing that needs to be addressed, do you feel?
It is a very complex topic. I think it's one where I can say a lot. There's a lot of thoughts behind it, but I don't need to do that. I think what I need to say is very little, which is, as an active participant, I would like to have the opportunity to play safe and play fair amongst my opponents in every tournament. And the expectation is that the governing bodies that's overseeing these tournaments are giving me that opportunity to perform on the right space. So.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Zinat. So time now to have a chat with Alcesta. We'll segue from talking mainly amateur over to IBA Pro, which is something that has really taken root over the last 2 or 3 years, and something obviously that you are fundamental to, Al, as director of IBA Pro. We've got a terrific card waiting for us tonight. I've covered plenty of these. We've been working together, the pair of us, and the matchups have been really, really good. So just talk to everybody about what is the plan with IBA Pro and how is it different and what are you looking to achieve?
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible turnout. I'm just looking, with this amount of talent and beautiful people, we can take over the world, I'm telling you now. IBA Pro, first of all, Mr. Umar Kremlov. We had conversation, he told me the vision, and he's a very genuine individual who loves boxing and ready to give everything for boxing to succeed. The kind of guy I was looking for all my life. Trust me, I had different opportunities, maybe taken away from me, had different prejudices. My life was very non-conventional, traveling all over the world, looking to find the space for myself. And IBA became an incredible home for me, giving me the opportunity cognitively to my talent, my vision. When it comes to IBA Pro, as Chris explained so well, this is like Real Madrid. From early stage, you get to academy, then you go through your amateur ranks, and then eventually, if you're interested, if you want to continue your career, you come to us, to IBA Pro. And we will try our best to enhance your career, to manage your career, to promote your career, media, talent-wise. I think we are the best. The future is with us. When it comes to the governing bodies such as WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, we're open for collaboration. We're not a competition. We're welcoming. We're doing our own thing, and we want to work with everybody. As the time will go by, we will develop our rating system, and the best will be rated. This is no prejudice in there. Literally will be formed on your ability, not like any other circumstance. IBA Pro is all about talent, all about talent. If you can fight, this is the home for you. Andy.
Okay, Al, thanks very much.
Ask me the questions. It's much easier for me.
Okay, so when it comes to putting these matches together,
yes,
it's always struck me that there is this huge catchment area of fighters who, when they came out of the amateurs, Russian fighters, Uzbeks, Kazakhs, in a lot of countries, there wasn't really the infrastructure to turn pro, and they would have to go and try and make it in the USA or make it in the UK. Countries where, with the best will in the world, the boxing public are never going to care about them as much as they cared about in their own country. But is that something that you're looking at, providing these, because there's such a depth of talent there, providing them with a route into the pros where they can stay at home almost?
Absolutely. This is the idea. We're a big international home of boxing, as Mr. President said once. And this is the opportunity for everyone. We would come to the United States, to the UK, to Latin America, everywhere, if we would have been welcomed. And we will be welcomed, because what we carry is light. We don't come from darkness. We are a very genuine organization that understands boxing, support boxing financially and emotionally, cognitively. We know what to do. And what you just said, this is exactly what we're trying to do. Absolutely. In terms of amateurs coming to us, we've got fantastic pool of fighters with the amateur pedigree and understanding how the amateur system works. And this is no-brainer for us. The IBA Pro, it's a wonderful elite. It's like an icing on the cake, really, for boxing.
Thanks very much, Al. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So now to our two fighters, our two male fighters on stage, I should say, Terrence Crawford and Tyson Fury. I think it'd be quite fun to get you two having a conversation with each other almost, as well as talking to me. But Terrence, starting with you, firstly, thanks for being here, because it's not that long actually until your fight, September the 13th in Las Vegas against Canelo, when you look to become a 3-weight undisputed champion, which in this era of boxing, when there's a lot of politics and fights can be hard to make and unifications can be tricky, let alone undisputed, would be an absolutely incredible achievement. I mean, how are you feeling? You must be about to start camp. Are you going into camp after this?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I've been working out. Actually, I just got done running before we, head into the press conference. So everything is going according to plan, and I'm looking forward to becoming a 3-time undisputed champion come September 13th.
I remember talking to you in Dubai about IBA and the work that they were doing. And one thing that you picked out and pointed out to me was that the funding for the amateurs and the fact that you can win prize money. And as Inat said, now, if you do well, you can almost self-fund. That's a big development and a really important thing for you, isn't it? Because a lot of fighters, it's a hard road. It's long journeys. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of kit to buy. If you can get that help with prize money and other funding, then it gives so many more people the chance to maybe make it to where you are.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of talented kids out there that don't have the finance to, go to certain tournaments because, they can't afford it or have the proper boxing equipment because they come from humble beginnings. So, of course, a prize money will help them and their family out to where they can focus on boxing full time and not, have to have a job or leave boxing or do boxing for part time.
Tyson, you fought all over the world, so you know exactly what we mean when we talk about boxing being a global sport. I was at your the third fight against Deontay Wilder, fairly fresh out of COVID anyway, in Las Vegas. Unbelievable occasion, stadium fights in the UK, Saudi Arabia. You're a globetrotter. You'll go wherever there is a ring. Well, used to anyway. You're retired now. How is that, by the way? First of all, how is retirement?
So first and foremost, I want to say big shout out to Umar Kremlev for bringing me over here. Look at this crowd! Wow. A lot of people turned up, some of the world's best fighters, personalities, UFC fighters, managers, promoters, cameramen, TV, everybody's here. So it's definitely a big event. I want to thank again for bringing me, the GK, to Turkey, to the IBA boxing event. Can't say better than that. And I heard you say I was one of those people who travelled around the world for boxing. If there was a ring there, I'd go, yes. But it was also a travel around the world and I'd say, show me the money. We're prize fighters at the end of the day. We fight for the highest purse. And it's fantastic what Umar's doing and the IBA's doing with the investment into amateur boxing. I boxed in world championships, European unions, all the IBA boxing events, and we didn't get fuck all, basically. Sorry for me swearing. If you don't like it, big door there, get through it. Yeah, we didn't get anything. We got a plastic cup, and today, I see it today, and I see all these millions that's going out to all these young fighters and prospects coming up through the ranks. It's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic work, I must say myself. And like I say, it's a pleasure to be here yet again. Thank you.
And do you feel like boxing as a sport can grow and grow and get bigger and bigger? Because it's one of those sports where big fights pull in a kind of floating audience like nothing else really. Week to week, it can still be quite niche in terms of how many people follow it. But do you feel like we can get boxing much more back into the mainstream of the sporting conversation on a weekly basis?
I think so, for sure. You know, boxing's on a massive high at the minute. All the big fights are being made, all the undisputed fights, all the fights that didn't happen for the last 10 years for whatever reasons. It's mainly money. They're happening now. So yeah, we're in a fantastic place. But I think what boxing needs, more than talent, because you can go to these World Championships, Olympics, everything, so much talent there, gold medal after gold medal after gold medal. But we need to work on people like the way they produce themselves, the way they go out to the public, the way they entertain. It's an entertainment business as well as a talent business. And I think with the way it's like the Oscars of boxing at the moment. I feel like I'm at the Oscars. So this is a great start to building a big profile for the IBA and the amateur boxing coming through who's going to turn pro. Because with this platform, you have the amateur boxers who are going out there and putting themselves out there, and they can do like these pro fights as well with IBA, and then they can go on and become big stars, and I think that's how you do it.
I was saying before that you've won every belt there is to win, as has Terrence in two different divisions.
Извини, так. Тайсон сейчас хорошую дал идею, и он очень... Тайсон сейчас дал хорошую идею, он сказал очень правильно. Надо давать Оскара в боксе. И эту идею мы в этом году реализуем на конгрессе в Эмиратах, где будет чемпионат мира по боксу. И лучшим боксером мира IBA будет вручать Оскара в этом году. Как раз мы внедрим, и это будет первый год, когда боксерам вручают Оскара. Вот что значит, когда ты напрямую общаешься с боксерами и слышать их, что они хотят.
Could you be tempted out of retirement maybe to try and clinch an IBA Pro belt? That's one you haven't got.
Listen, I've not got an IBO Pro belt, an IBA Pro belt rather. And I'll just say one thing to that, to Umar. Show me the money! I'm available. I'm young, free and single, ready to mingle.
Okay, well, let's just ask you about, you talked about talent earlier on and you talked about entertainment. This fight he's got coming up, Terrence, against Canelo to become undisputed at super middleweight as well as at super lightweight and welterweight. I'm sure you'll be watching. Maybe you'll even get yourself over there. Who knows? You get everywhere. What do you make of that fight and what do you make of his chances?
I think it's a fantastic fight for boxing. You know, you got two great champions going head to head for all the marbles, and Terrence has been undisputed before in two different weight classes, and Canelo's done the same. He's been undisputed before as well, and I think it's bigger than the belts and bigger than all of that. You know, you got two men, pride's on the line, everything's to fight for, and they're both great champions. So I wish them both luck and all the best, and I hope they go in there, do the fight, entertain the world, and get out there in one piece and go home to their lovely families, because that's what it's about. That's what we fight for.
Just to let the pair of you know, actually, there is off the side of the press conference room here, there is the IBA Power Punch machine. It's like a kind of punching machine you see generally in boxing venues, but just better designed, I would say, to try and take into account the correctness of the punch and technique and weight transfer and all that kind of thing. So I just wonder whether we might be able to tempt the pair of you into testing out your power on it at some point today. Maybe not you, Terrence, because you have to look after those hands, I guess, but maybe the GK will give it a go for us later on.
You want to break my jacks, do you?
Well,
here's the things, yeah? Don't you know, Wilder called me pillow fists. I can't punch, zero power.
Yeah, I don't think I really believe that. So, you know, maybe you can set down a marker and then other people can go and have a go and see if they can get close to it. We've got plenty of them over there. We've got plenty of fighters here in attendance, so I'm sure we've...
You got David A in here. He's the big punching man. He's the knockout king.
Got Derek Chisora, got the Smiths in the front row here, Vidal Riley, Spencer Oliver, Johnny Nelson. Roy Jones seems to be kind of just turning away and hiding from the prospect of, I'm going to go on the punch machine maybe, but, well, the man next to him I'm sure would oblige. Well, gentlemen, thanks very much. It's always great to see you. Al?
The president just mentioned, he said, as Tyson mentioned, IBA Pro belt. You started from IBA, haven't you? Did you start from IBA?
I did, yes.
IBA would be fantastic if you could finalize your career with IBA Pro.
I'd love to.
Talk
like
to
I
the
said,
man.
for sure.
Talk to the man.
Speak to Spence and we'll sort it out. September, October, November, December, I'm ready.
It's the availability calendar.
100%. Let's go. Let's go.
If the money is right, guys.
There's another one. That's another IBA Pro contender there.
If the money is right, would you fight AJ under the supervision of IBA?
100%. 100%.
Okay, so the question was, in case people couldn't hear it, from Derek Chisora, if the money was right, would he fight Anthony Joshua under the auspices of the IBA? And, well, you heard the answer, 100%. So let's see. It's strange, you know, because when you retired, you never got the fanfare that you really deserved, because I think people, they expect you to come back. They do expect you back.
I have been known as a boomerang. I always come back.
Okay, thanks very much, gents. Thanks very much indeed. So that leads us neatly, talking of extreme talent and entertainment, and of course Tyson being a heavyweight, that leads us on nicely to yourself, Rashida, because there is no more famous athlete in the history of the universe than Muhammad Ali. I think that's fair to say. I don't think anybody would argue with that statement. It's a statement of fact, and that legacy is still alive today, as it always has been, and I think always will be. And when you speak to great fighters like Tyson Fury, like Terrence Crawford, and they tell you what he meant to them, I mean, it must mean an awful lot.
First, I want to thank Umar Kremlev. Thank you so much. The whole entire IBA staff, everyone's been really just so incredibly wonderful and just respectful. All of you guys here, thank you guys so much for coming here and showing this organization so much love and respect. When fighters come up and tell me how much Daddy meant to them, it just warms my heart. And because Daddy was always bigger than boxing. He said his cause was bigger than boxing. And for him to be able to still have so much power and resonance over other fighters, it would just make him cry to think, because that's what he's always wanted to do. He wanted to help others. And that's not just in the ring, it's just as a human being, he wanted to make people great. He wanted people to do great things. And I think he did that. So again, thank you all so much for showing Daddy so much love and respect, because I think he would be so proud that he's still making a difference.
And if you could just share this little story you told me earlier on from 2010, Las Vegas, I think it was, when he went to a Shane Mosley fight, Mayweather Mosley, was it? I think
Yes,
was the fight.
Yes. Well, first, I want to say one thing about the IBA. The IBA is walking the crossroads between incredible talent and massive global influence. And that is the path that my dad walked. He didn't just walk that path. He owned it for a long time. And I just want to say that the IBA and my dad's paths are the same. I think that Umar is doing a great job in being able to show compassion toward other fighters who wouldn't normally have an opportunity, like Terrence mentioned. There's a lot of people who don't have opportunities, and Umar's given them a chance to participate in the sport that they love. And so I think they coincide together, the IBA and what my dad wanted and his dream. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you. My dad had extreme faith, and I said before that his cause was bigger than boxing. He, no question about it, chose the other path. He went against the establishment, but for good causes. He chose faith over power. He chose faith over fear. He chose unity over division. And I think it was his religion that gave him the courage to speak up for those who couldn't speak up for themselves. And also boxing. Boxing became his platform to be able to change the world. So thank you so much. So now for your question, I know some of you guys who are here, I know Terrence was here, Saeed, a couple of other people were here last time for the IBA event in Dubai, but I was thinking of another story, but if you just to forgive me, I have to say this story again. Okay, fine. It was May 2nd, 2010, and the reason why I want to say this story again is because it just resonates about the kind of person Daddy was, as a person and a human being, how much faith he had in himself and how he didn't take himself too seriously. My dad had, at that time, advanced symptoms of Parkinson's disease, and he had an opportunity to see the Mosley-Mayweather fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. He was excited for weeks before the fight. We live in Vegas. My dad lived in Scottsdale. So he flew in for the fight just one night. And he was ringside with a lot of other celebrities that were there. And so Daddy called us and said, you know, let's hang out after the fight because, you know, then we'll have more time to connect. So we waited till after the fight. We went down to the MGM Grand and just hung out with Daddy after. And so me and my husband and my two boys, Biagio and Nico, was there, and Daddy came with his sister-in-law. So when we got up to the suite, Daddy's sister-in-law and the boys and Bob, they all went downstairs to grab something to eat. So it was just me and Daddy there. So I was up in the suite, and I'm familiar at this point with Daddy's habits and things like that. So I had asked Daddy, how cool was it to be ringside at that fight, to be in your element? How excited were you to be there? So my eyes were this big, and Daddy just sometimes, you know, with Parkinson's, sometimes you get a masked face where you don't have a big expression. So Daddy gave me that expression that was kind of like stoic. So when he did that, I kind of stepped back and said, okay, well, he has Parkinson's, and, you know, I'm not going to make him talk too much. No problem. 2 seconds after that, Daddy looked at me and said, I think I'm going to make a comeback. And then I fell on the floor laughing, and then I said, Daddy. And then he was like, well, it might take 6 to 9 months. And then I fell on the floor laughing, and then he was like, I'm just messing with you. And I said 2 things, Daddy. I said, 1, only you could pull that off if you would do that. And 2, you would not only shock the world once, you would shock the world twice. And we all started laughing. But after he said that, it made me realize Daddy didn't take himself seriously. He really lived in the moment, and he enjoyed his life, even though at the end with the later stages of Parkinson's it was difficult, but he enjoyed his life. And he had an incredible amount of confidence even after Parkinson's, but he still was able to help people, he was still be able to make an impact. And I remember watching fights with Daddy because his favorite subject is himself. So we would watch fights together, and he would look at me and say, I was bad, wasn't I? I said, Daddy, you are still. he was still so humble. Even after looking at his career and what he's done, he still was very humble and just really felt that he was just a regular human being, because Daddy taught us at a young age, don't ever feel like you're better than someone just because you make more money, or because God gave you a talent, or you're pretty, or you're whatever it is. Don't think you're better, because only God cares about your good deeds. That's it. And that stuck with me, because he was absolutely right about that. And then thinking back, I'm thinking, well, that's why Daddy was so humble, because he had things into perspective.
Thanks very much, Rashida. I could just imagine he probably still believed it, though, didn't he? That he could make the comeback, that he could beat
Yes.
them all right until the very end.
Yes, I do believe it. If he put his mind to something, even with Parkinson's, that's why I said, Daddy, if nobody could pull that off, it would be you, because he had his mental capacity was so incredibly, he believed in himself before other people did. And I just think I try to follow in his footsteps every day, because we all know boxing I used to think it was 50% mental. No, it's 90%. I have two boys that are boxers. One in MMA and one is a boxer. One, they're trying to kill me, I think. And two, I know, just walking with them through their journey, you have to believe in yourself 90%, and 10% is talent. Because Daddy always said, the will and the skill. If you don't have the will, it doesn't matter if you have the skill. That's what he said, and he was right.
No, you see that on gym walls everywhere, don't you? To be a champion, you need the will and the skill.
That's with it doesn't matter what sport you're in, even if you're a professional accountant, or if you're an interior designer, or if you're an architect, if you're a doctor or a lawyer, you have to believe in yourself in order to succeed.
And Umar, could I just ask you, what does it mean to you as president of the IBA to have this connection with the Ali family?
Это самое главное, потому что не будет боксеров, не будет IBA. Это основа IBA. И все, что происходит в IBA, все новшества, все нововведения, они все должны учитывать мнение боксеров и тренеров. Без них не будет международной ассоциации, без них не будет боксерских соревнований. Тренер и боксер – это самые главные люди в боксе. И мы, как менеджеры спортивные, мы не хозяева боксеров. Мы обслуживающий персонал, который должен создавать условия для боксеров. Все, что мы должны делать, мы не должны ими командовать, мы должны для них делать условия, создавать. И все, что зарабатывает международная ассоциация, эти деньги должны принадлежать именно тренерам и спортсменам. Вот главная задача.
Thank you very much for that. And
почему мы говорим про Мухаммеда Али? Мухаммед Али, он делал именно так. И мы хотим это продолжить, и чтобы это не забылось. Это имя величайшего боксера и человека. Не только боксера, он был величайшим человеком. Он был против войн. Он ведь отказался от всего, но стоял на своем. Он был за мир во всем мире. Также IBA против всех конфликтов. Он за мир во всем мире. Понимаете, это единственный вид спорта, кто об этом говорит. Остальные боятся. А мы, боксеры, боксерская семья IBA, демонстрируем, что мы защищаем спортсменов. Нельзя ущемлять спортсменов. Нельзя им запрещать. Наоборот, надо им создавать условия, чтобы они выступали. И пусть все конфликты мира происходят на спортивных аренах, а потом после боев обнимаются. Дружба должна быть. Мы должны объединять людей. Вот к этому мы и будем стремиться.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've got a terrific fight night tonight coming up, of course. And if you could just have a look up at the big screen now, we will show you a new belt that is being introduced for the IBA Golden Era.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear audience, we proudly present to you the International Boxing Association Championship belts. Crafted from pure gold for the precious champions whose names will adorn the golden pages of IBA history. The gold champion belt, weighing 5.5 kilograms and made of pure 999 gold, will embellish the waist of the champion who is part of the IBA and can defend their championship title 3 times. And the IBA Diamond Champion Championship belt. This 5.5 kilogram white gold belt is adorned with 273 diamonds, totaling 65 carats, for the true, undisputed champions. Those who will become a true gem in the history of International Boxing Association. It will be awarded to the athlete who, besides their sincere and undeniable dedication to the life and work of the organization, can defend their championship title for the 5th time. The IBA championship belts are not just adornments, they are a tribute to dedication to boxing, the pinnacle of hard work based on discipline, talent, and love for the greatest sport. This is our gratitude for your achievements. This is our humble gift to your championship character, forged in fierce battles, and an honorable insignia in honor of our common legacy.
Okay, so that's the IBA belt being introduced to mark the Golden Era, but we're also marking it in another way with a collaboration with Hublot. Hublot have created a unique timepiece, a limited edition, only 50 watches crafted by special order to mark the Golden Era of boxing and the spirit of unity that we all share. So if I could invite to the stage, well, Chris is already here, Chris Roberts, OBE, but if I could also invite up to sign the contract the operational director on behalf of DSAT, representative of Hublot in Turkey, Inanç Sevilir. Thanks very much, gents. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Inanç. So now on to 3 more topics to introduce this lunchtime. And the first one, I've seen some behind the scenes kind of footage of this, and it looks absolutely extraordinary. It's what is going to be the new IBA gym in Baku. It is set to be an absolutely supersonic facility. And joining us to explain much more about it, please welcome Emin Shagayev and Mohamed Sadik Ozchilik.
Я всех приветствую, и для начала посмотрим видео.
There were once people who didn't believe in themselves. They hid from the mirror, postponed their health, and lost hope. But then came a choice, a step forward. They embraced sweat, discipline, and resilience. Some stories begin with pain, and some began just like this.
Первое слово. Некоторым папа, мама говорят, я вот так посмотрел и говорю, шашлык.
And on that journey, they weren't alone. Chagayev was there. And behind it all, a visionary who believed in change, Umar Kremlev. Together, they created the IBA Project, a movement to transform lives. In just 2 months, dozens of people lost 30, even 40 kilos. They reclaimed their health, their confidence, and their lives. And the results are plain to see. And now, this vision is growing. With the launch of IBA Gym, the mission becomes bigger, bolder, and more professional in Azerbaijan. But this is only the beginning. We invite you to believe in this transformation, and together, we can go even further.
IBA Boxing Gym – это не просто спортзал, это международный тренировочный центр, который мы открываем в Баку. Главное, все национальные сборные, желающие пройти учебно-тренировочные сборы, делают это абсолютно бесплатно. Все расходы покрывает IBA, от команд требуется лишь одно – добраться до Баку, все остальное проживание, питание, тренировки мы берем на себя. Этот проект стал возможен благодаря поддержке президента Международной ассоциации бокса IBA Умара Назаровича Кремлева, за что ему отдельная благодарность. Мы строим дом, где будут расти новые чемпионы, в котором бокс объединяет континенты в один большой мир. IBA, мы большая команда, мы одна большая семья. До конца. Сейчас покажем наш зал.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity. I will now introduce you the architectural design of this IBA gym and boxing arena. This amazing facility has a lot of opportunities in it. There is a gym and there is a boxing arena. Also in the male building, there is a lot of opportunities for the visitors to improve themselves and also entertain themselves. As you can see, this is the boxing ring on the left and the main entrance and the gym section, and also there are several container houses for the guests who want to stay on the long term. This is another picture of the entrance, and more picture for the entrance zone and container houses, boxing ring, and also another picture for the entrance. And there is women and men sections are differing from each other. So this is the reception of the women entrance, and also there is a resting area in front of it. There is a beauty salon, massage rooms, pictures of the gym, Pilates studio, changing room, washrooms, relaxation rooms, and also a picture of the reception area of the men's section. And there is also restaurants, VIP cabins, and a store for the IBA products. And entire second floor will be dedicated to gym, and first floor will be, boxing area will be located on the third floor, and there is a swimming pool in the basement. And boxing arena will be differing from the main building. It is because of the security reasons for the visitors. And thank you. That's all from our side. Thank you.
В следующем году, я скажу, мы планируем, в следующем году у нас тут же еще есть и в Узбекистане будет зал IBA Gym имени Хасанбоя, двукратного олимпийского чемпиона. Он как раз сегодня здесь с проектом уже пришел. Мы планируем там в Узбекистане открыть также. Это будет 27-й год, два зала. Также планируем в Эмиратах скоро открытие тоже, в 26-м IBA Gym. И мы также получаем сейчас заявки в многих странах, где мы будем реализовывать этот проект. Наша задача, чтобы в каждой стране, в столице была IBA Gym, академия.
So there are big plans. There are big plans to open gyms in numerous locations, as you heard there, and that facility does look absolutely spectacular. And the IBA is also branching out into a different area in bare knuckle. There are 2 bare knuckle fights on the card tonight, contested by 4 highly trained, very, very skillful performers. And it's an interesting area. And joining me now on stage to discuss it, somebody who reached the top of the sport, amateur and pro, former super middleweight, Paul Smith. Paul, we were talking about this yesterday, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of the time when people think about bare knuckle, they're not quite sure what it is. They're not quite sure what the rules are. They're not quite sure how safe it is. These are questions that are asked by a lot of people, and what the IBA is looking to do is to answer all of them, to get it more consistent, to get it more regulated, and just to give fighters another opportunity to fight and to earn. Because if you're going to do this properly, then you absolutely have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, we spoke about it in length today and yesterday, explaining that bare knuckle is how boxing started. Boxing originally started before the Marquess of Queensberry rules as bare knuckle fights, but they were fighting so many rounds or no rounds, just to the very end. If it's controlled and there's the right amount of rounds, the round length being 2 minutes, which is also good for the amount of damage that will be done with no gloves being worn, then it's obviously a lot better and safer for the fighters. And I think you're right what you're saying. I think there has to be a legislation, there has to be a set of rules right across the board that are the same for bare knuckle fighting.
So you feel, I know, that the 2 minute rounds is important because you can inflict more damage with a bare fist than you can with a glove. So that the duration, it's important to get the duration right, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important to get the duration right. Obviously, 2 minute round, you're going to be taking less damage to the face and the hands. I mean, when you see some of the pictures of it, it doesn't look too good, does it? But obviously, 2 minute rounds are going to be a lot easier. Three rounds or 5 minute rounds for championship fights, which I think is plenty also. And then the fighter's safety will be taken care of.
Tyson, if I could just ask you about this too, because I know that it's not something you've done, I don't think, but it's something that you are probably more familiar with than most, given the fact that you're a proud member of the travelling community. What do you feel about this as an initiative, as another outlet for boxers basically to make a living?
I have to agree with what Paul said. I think this is how fighting started, with no gloves on back in the day. And men have always fought, haven't they? Men still fight today. You should go down Morecambe on a Friday night. Fights everywhere. But I think under a controlled environment, like Paul said again, I think it's good, you know. It gives other people opportunities to earn money, provide for their families, and give themselves a decent life, you know. When you bring all the judges and referees and all the doctors and things into the bare knuckle boxing, it's not as brutal as the way we do it, like the gypsies, like the fight outside for 10 hours until one man says, that's enough, I've finished. Where with this, it's like boxing rules, but with no gloves on. So it's a little bit different to what I would be used to. However, I think it's still good because it's getting big, you know. There's so many different avenues now with the bare knuckle. There's a few different organisations. There's MMA. There's so much to go at. If you're a sports person, so much more choice. And I'm all for choice. I'm all for people earning a living and doing the best they can and providing for themselves and families.
And Paul, you're around the gyms all the time. You're plugged into the scene and you speak to fighters of all descriptions. I mean, do you feel like we might be a bit surprised by how many people might choose this over traditional boxing?
Definitely. I think it opens doors for fighters who are retired to go into bare knuckle. They're not good enough or young enough in boxing, but they can go into bare knuckle and try it. But I also watched the show last week and saw 3 established good professional boxers, and they all lost in the first round. So it goes to show that it's not just your boxing ability. If you get it on the chin, you're going to go.
No, that's absolutely right. I don't think anybody will be taking it lightly. But as I said, it's maybe just had a bit of an image problem in the past, hasn't it? I think, and I think if people tune in later on and watch the fighters on the card, then you'll see them for exactly what they are, which is very skillful, well-disciplined, technically good boxers. Because you have to have that, don't you, if you're going to succeed here? It's not, you can't just stand there and just windmill. That's not going to work.
No, you've got to be good, you've got to be fit, you've got to be strong. And you've got to be a bit tapped in the head, I think, to tire as well. But these fighters are a different breed, and we'll see some very good fights, very well organised fights and organised shows in the future, I'm sure, from the IBA.
Terrence, would you entertain this? Would you fancy this at any point, do you think?
Not at all.
You prefer the gloves?
Yeah, for sure. And the pay that comes with it.
Бокс – это элита спорта. Бокс – это флагман спорта. Бокс – это элита спорта и флагман спорта. Но не все могут стать чемпионами по боксу. Почему не дать другим боксерам возможность, чтобы они выступали кулачки? Из-за этого IBA запустил это направление, чтобы централизовать, были четкие правила. Здоровье спортсмена нам очень важно. Здесь, конечно, в течение времени мы будем включать правила, еще что-то будем добавлять, чтобы именно здоровье спортсмена было сохранено и гарантия. Вот для чего, чтобы IBA стала центральной площадкой IBA Bare Knuckle. И все промоутеры, которые проводят кулачные бои, они будут участвовать в IBA за титул IBA Bare Knuckle. Создаем такие условия. И, конечно же, хорошие призовые выплачиваем так же, как и в боксе будет, для того, чтобы спортсмены могли зарабатывать и обеспечивать свою будущее, семью. Как и в любительском боксе мы поставили призовые. Например, в любительском боксе сегодня на чемпионате мира призовой фонд более 5 миллионов долларов. Но в 2028 году мы призовой ставим за первое место более 25 миллионов долларов будет. И чемпионат мира будет каждый не 2 года, а каждые 3 года, чтобы спортсмены ждали и главное событие свое. Потому что главное событие – это чемпионат мира. И в 2028 году мы планируем сделать призовой до 25 миллионов долларов, чтобы спортсмен за первое место получал $1 миллион. Это в любительском чемпионате. Я не говорю про профессиональные. Это про любителей, я говорю. Для чего мы это делаем? Для того, чтобы был интерес, для того, чтобы спортсмены больше был охват. Мы даже награждать будем за 4-5 места. Тоже будут призовые. Потому что кто-то отдает полжизни своей, чтобы попасть на чемпионат мира. Мы должны ценить их труд спортсменов. Это главная наша задача. Вот, чтобы спортсмен мог заработать и тратить на свою подготовку. Чтобы сегодня мир такой, без денег не сделаешь ничего, к сожалению. Я сам, когда занимался боксом, у меня тоже одна перчатка была на 10 человек. Одна пара перчаток. Мы даже шорты друг другу передавали. И я хочу, чтобы у каждого спортсмена был инвентарь свой. Вот для чего мы, IBA, почему мы говорим, мы Международный дом боксерства, мы за справедливость. Для того, чтобы у каждого спортсмена была возможность участвовать на турнире. И возможность выступать, возможность реализовывать свои мечты и желания после бокса. И когда родители отдают детей, еще раз хочу повторить, что они должны понимать, что ребенок реально сможет в будущем, занимаясь боксом, обеспечить себя.
Thanks very much. As you say, it is all about opportunity. Paul, thanks very much for coming up to speak to us. As I say, 2 bare knuckle fights on that card tonight, topped by Albert Badagaziev against Jazza Dickens. So now on to our third item, and you'll have seen this on your way in. You'll have walked past the cube just out front there, which is, for today at least, housing the IBA boxing games. So please do take the opportunity to test your skills at the end of this press conference if you wish to do so. But joining us now to tell us a lot more about it is Petr Chernov and Pavel Ilminov. Well, first of all, we've got a quick video to tee it up. Okay, gentlemen, I jumped the gun slightly there. I welcome you up again. Please welcome to the stage Petr Chernov and Pavel Ilminov.
It's so amazing event. Yeah?
Hello everyone, nice to meet you. First of all, I want to say big thanks to IBA and to Umar Nazarovich Kremlov for giving to us to create this boxing project. I think all guests here can see a huge cube near entrance. Inside this cube, you guys can try our boxing game. Our game have two platforms, PC and mobile. And a lot of time we're thinking how to create really interesting, balanced game because our team, we love playing games. And first we make 3 cities. It's New York, it's Moscow, and Havana, where you can find opponent, a real opponent or AI opponent. You can cheer to the other guys. You can see how they fight. And second, on mobile phone, we make game, and you can play guys only with one hand and one finger, because we make this game for simple people from all countries, Philippines, Russia, and gamers. They can play our game on bus, on subway. It's very comfortable, but our game have very rich punch mechanics. For example, we have jabs, right hands, left hands. We have strong uppercut, hooks. You can move like Mike Tyson or block head or your body. And we work with Eduard Kravtsov. It's a professional trainer. He show us how real boxers are moving on the ring. And on mobile game, you don't need to rotate screen. You just grab your phone and enjoy. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. IBA boxing game, a game boxing into modern culture. We want to make boxing accessible to everyone, student in Nairobi and teenager in Istanbul. It's not about fighting at all. Boxing, teacher in intellect, respect for the opponents. In September, we are releasing a cool game. Maybe you know Turkish word çok güzel game, yeah, you know? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next step, a surprise for you. Albert Baturgaziev will sign the contract with IBA boxing game right in this email. Yeah. All sportsmen, we are welcome. Guys,
Absolutely.
thank
Welcome,
you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Petr. Thanks very much, Pavel. And thanks to Albert Baturgaziev as well for taking the time out to join us this lunchtime, just a few hours ahead of his fight tonight. So on to our final item before we get to the Q&A at the end. And when I saw the running order a few weeks ago and this appeared, I wasn't really expecting it, because the IBA is making a foray into the world of fashion. And why not? Why not indeed? It's not really my area, if I'm honest, but luckily you don't have to listen to me talk about it. It is my great pleasure and relief to be able to introduce the visionary behind Euphoria Wear. She's the driving force of the IBA's fashion direction, the CEO of IBA Fashion and of Euphoria Wear. She is an inspired, ambitious leader who brings style and spirit to everything she touches. Please welcome Victoria Zhulkova.
Hello everyone, My name is Victoria Zulkova, and I am founder of A4A, a fashion brand, and creator of the very first IBA fashion collection. Today we are introducing more than just sportswear. We are unveiling a new vision of style. Each piece in this collection is inspired by a single idea. Boxing is more than sport. It's a lifestyle. The way you move, the way you speak, the way you enter the room. We took core values of boxing, such as discipline, determination, courage, and expressed them through design. Our outfits speak volumes even in silence. This collection was born from the broader vision of what it means to be a boxer. It's for those who face challenges every day, in and out of the ring. For those who fight for love, for life, for dignity. Women's collection was made in collaboration with Euphoria, and of course it is also powered by these ideas. We make clothes for people who feel deep connection with IBA. For those who feel like at home while they're boxing, because IBA is more than federation, it's a family. So, welcome to the family, welcome to IBA. And now, it's my great honor to pass the floor to a woman who really embodies both elegance and power, our very special guest, Naomi Campbell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here and to feel the energy of boxing. Not only is boxing a sport, but it's a movement and it's a state of mind, one that I have felt for a very long time. Boxing is something that I turn to. I've been boxing for many years when I need to get in shape for something, but most importantly, it's what it does for my mind. It brings clarity and it brings discipline. IBA Fashion is a clothing line that's here to win. And I want everyone here to feel what I feel, that boxing isn't only about the fight. It's about the presence, about the style, and the voice. IBA is not just creating fashion. Today, IBA is creating a movement, a community where everyone is felt, seen, heard, and deeply respected. And for now, before we will witness the very first show of IBA, a fashion collection, I would like to welcome the remarkable young girl to the stage who will perform a song before we start. And it's called What Matters Most. Please welcome Ilana Volkova, here to sing Life. Ilana, where are you? Where is Ilana? Is she here? Oh, here she is. Come. Welcome Ilana Volkova, everyone.
We're chasing the stars, chasing things that aren't meant to last. I just wish that we could light up the sky with the colors of the high above. Feel the moment, don't look back. With every beat, just let it out. Sometimes things can get hard, but don't give up. We're gonna fly above the sky, and we're gonna shine to make a change. Yeah, life
them go by. And you have to pay. I mean, any woman does. With an awful loneliness, 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 pay. Things are until you let them go by. And you have to pay. I mean, any woman does. With an awful loneliness, 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 have to pay. Things are until you let them go by. And you have to pay. I mean, any woman does. With an awful loneliness, 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 have to pay. Things are until you let them go by. And you have to pay. I mean, any woman does. With an awful loneliness, 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 loneliness,
Well, that was terrific. This sport really does throw up some unexpected experiences at times, and a fashion show in the middle of a press conference is definitely one of them.
Get some wind with his elbow, and it could get the truth, or it is work. It could, frankly. It could be, frankly. It could be very fresh and clean hard. It could be a balloon.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So a big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. That was terrific. Nico Ali Walsh bringing up the rear there, looking ahead to a career after boxing already, by the look of things. Thanks very much, Naomi. Thanks to Victoria. Thanks to that great performance from Anya. That was tremendous. And just before we move on to the Q&A, I think we should probably talk some fashion, Tyson, because you are a fashionable man. Look at the suit that you're wearing. But in all seriousness, yourself and Terrence, fight kit matters, doesn't it? Kit matters. What you look like when you go into the ring. You want to feel good.
You want to feel good, you want to look good, and you want to perform. That's the most important thing. So I think choosing a fight kit and the stuff you wear in your corner and your team, I think it's important for people to make the right decisions to express who they are. You see me, I'm always in vibrant, colourful suits. This expresses my personality. Now, it won't be everybody to go shirtless with a Gypsy King logo all over the suit, but it expresses the way I am and my personality, so yeah.
And Terrence, with the fight coming up against Canelo, how much input and thought do you put into what you're going to wear to the ring that night? Because as I say, it matters when you're making that walk to the ring. I know you're thinking about other things, but at the same time, fighters, they do love their kit.
For me, it never mattered because, you know, you can have on some of the nicest clothes, but can't fight a lick. I'll beat you up in some sandals. So, you know, to each his own.
Yeah, I believe you, but at the same time, I think you are going to be looking pretty good walking to that ring in Las Vegas at the stadium in mid-September. Sure. So now time for our Q&A section, and we are going to run this in the old-fashioned way. Anybody can ask anything they want to anybody they like, and we will be here for as long as it takes for people to get those questions asked and get those questions answered. And there are microphones, I think, floating around in various corners. So if I could just ask, if you just raise your hand if you would like to ask a question, wait until a microphone gets to you, then just stand up, tell us who you are, tell us what you want to ask and who you want to direct it towards. So who'd like to Who'd like to get us started? Okay, Wally Downs in the front row there, somebody I know from the Sun newspaper in the UK.
Tyson, hearing you talk about white collar, bare knuckle, it reminded me of your lineage to people like Bartley Gorman and Big Just Uriah Burton. And I wondered that before you become a big famous professional boxer, did you ever have any bare knuckle fights? Or was no one stupid enough to ask?
No, it comes from a long lineage in my family, yes, you're right. However, I always participated in the boxing glove fight game, and I always wanted to be a heavyweight boxing champion, not a bare knuckle champion, like my ancestors. So yeah, interesting question.
Okay, so at the back there, Rob Tebbett from Boxing News. If somebody could just get a microphone to him. He's the Artur Beterbiev kind of look-alike. Certainly around the back there. Artur Beterbiev wouldn't like that.
My question is for Al Siesta. Al, thank you very much for having us here in Istanbul. We're all very excited for the event tonight. We've got Albert Batagaziev against a British fighter in James Jazza Dickens. I just want to know what IBA Pro's plans are about potentially expanding into the UK market. We know we love our boxing over there, so it'd be great to see this travelling band and circus in the UK sometime soon.
Rob, you're welcome, of course. Thank you very much for participating. First of all, we are coming to the UK, but this is the question to the British Boxing Board of Control. If they are welcoming, we are ready. We are a big family. We're a very clean organization. We love boxing. But it's up to those peers, as you know, back home, what's going to happen to us. We're ready at any time.
And I know, Al, that you in the past you've been a big fan of doing international competitions. We've seen tonight we've got a Russian against a Brit. Could we see Russians against Brits, maybe a 5v5 in the future?
Absolutely, we're ready. Brits are ready and Russians are ready, always. Strong nations, great boxing, you know it.
Okay, so the gentleman there with the baseball cap on.
Good afternoon, everybody. Julian Kivitz, IOL News and Mzansi MMA. You spoke about possibly expand to the rest of the world. South Africa, big boxing nation also. Social development's a big thing in our country also, and uplifting our communities. Can you just touch on any plans for Africa, South Africa? Thank you. President or you, sir? Doesn't matter.
В Южной Африке мы уже проводили Кубок Манделы. И, конечно, в Южной Африке мы уже проводили Кубок Манделы. И также мы планируем проводить IBA Ночь чемпионов, IBA Pro. Мы очень любим Южную Африку. Вообще, африканский континент – это особый континент. И там очень достойные боксеры. И, конечно, мы очень много будем мероприятий проводить в Африке тоже.
The Mandela Cup mentioned there was a competition that Zinats won, I think, actually, whilst we're on the topic. You, sir.
Thank you. My name is Nenad Borovčanin, Serbian Boxing Federation. First, I want to say big thanks to Omar Kremlov, because he really built boxing to be great again. And this innovation in professional boxing also unite boxing and people in boxing. Very important. Boxers and coaches in amateur boxing now can live from money from IBA. It's very important to build the house, family, everything what is need. Then in the future, you can calculate on Serbia and Balkan countries to be hoster and organizer all IBA events. And also I want to take chance to invite our boxing brother Tyson Fury come to Serbia, and also Naomi Campbell to be ambassadors of Expo 2027. And in that year we will organize big boxing show. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a few in the front row. You have a microphone there, sir?
Всем привет, всем добряка. Умар Назарович. Вы всегда
отмечаете, что бокс объединяет, бокс дом для всех. И бокс всех объединяет. Я профессиональный известный боец ММА из Таджикистана. Дайте мне возможность проявить себя в боксе. Все тянутся, ММАшник тянется в UFC. Я хочу показать себя именно в IBA Gold эра. Новая эра, золотая эра.
UFC уже в прошлом.
Поэтому я здесь.
Будущее в боксе.
Поэтому я здесь хочу показать себя. Дайте мне возможность.
Готовься.
Я готов. 24/7.
Камиль, когда хочешь выступить, Камиль?
Я услышал в ближайшее время в моем родине, в Республике Таджикистан. Дайте мне показать там себя. Весь мир увидит, кто такой Камиль Карате, Таджикистан Бапеш. Спасибо большое.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hello everyone, I am Bashar. I'm representing Saudi Arabia in this event, and I'm happy that I'm joining you and joining this press conference. For Saudi Arabia, what's the IBA plans? Do you have any plans to organize such an event the moment that Saudi Arabia is hosting too many worldwide activities and sport events? So, what's your plans for Saudi Arabia?
Мы планируем в Саудовской Аравии развивать и детский бокс, и, конечно, и профессиональный. Но я хотел в первую очередь поблагодарить правительство, непосредственно наследного принца и правительство, всю команду, Туркия, Алишер, который вкладывает большой вклад в бокс. Это популяризация бокса и поддержка спортсменов. На самом деле в Саудовской Аравии очень большой вклад вносит в мировой бокс, не только внутри страны, а в мировой. И, конечно, мы планируем взаимодействовать и также планируем провести чемпионат мира. У нас есть много планов, потому что есть много условий в Саудовской Аравии. У нас уже есть диалог с Национальной федерацией, обмен опытом между тренерами, спортсменами и также проведение турниров больших мировых.
Hello, good afternoon. Gareth A. Davis from The Telegraph and TalkSport over here. Thank you for inviting us all, Umar Kremlev. Great to be here for the golden era of the IBA. How soon, Mr. Kremlev, will the IBA be considered the biggest sanctioning body in the world?
Но он так является единственной и самой главной международной ассоциацией бокса. Мы единственные, которые создаем условия для национальных федераций, спортсменов и тренеров. И мы это будем продолжать. И все, что, еще раз хочу повторять, будет зарабатывать международная ассоциация, это будет принадлежать боксерам. Все возможности и весь ресурс IBA.
I don't know what your answer was to that because I wasn't having headphones on, but when you sit here with the likes of the Gypsy King next to you, where do you rank the Gypsy King in all the heavyweights of all time?
Он один из лучших боксеров мира.
One of the best of all times. Gareth, can you hear me?
I can hear you, thank you.
He's one of the best of all times, in Mr. President's opinion.
Thank you very much. A final question for the Gypsy King. You're going to be asked this over and over again, Tyson. You look in fantastic shape at the moment. We know you do 2 workouts a day. How much longer are you going to keep us hanging on to tell us when you're really going to come back?
The question is to you, Gareth. How long is a piece of string?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you sir on the corner there at the front.
Good day, it's Zahar Adams from South Africa. To Zenit Firdaus, you, first of all, congratulations on your achievements. You obviously train in New York. Bangladesh has a very traditional society. Do you hope that your achievements will inspire fellow female boxers in Bangladesh to follow in a similar path? And what How do they overcome their challenges?
Repeat the last part for me. How did what?
I said, and how would they overcome their challenges to achieve what you have done?
Thanks for the question. I've already seen some shift. I guess let me take a step back. When I started this journey and Bangladesh poached me to represent the country and represent them on an international stage, I was a little nervous. Will they accept me? Will they want a female to fight for them? And they proved me wrong. They've been really supportive. I think, unfortunately, due to the lack of funding, I haven't been able to take it as far as I'd like. But in general, there is support, and they are supporting me when I go to these tournaments and win with the best that they can do, whether it's publicity or write-ups, things of that sort. But yeah, the goal is to inspire the next new generation. At least in New York City, I've seen an influx of Bangladeshis come to my gym and hear my story and say, I want to be the next boxer, I want to represent Bangladesh. And so we're actually training a couple of Bangladeshis right now. So yeah, the goal is to inspire the next generation.
Okay, I think we've got a question from a Hall of Famer, Carl Froch. Where is he? There you are. There you are.
I'm here. How you doing? How you doing? I'm Carl the Cobra Froch, former unified super middleweight world boxing champion and international boxing Hall of Famer, as you mentioned. I also once boxed in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. I just want to ask, can you envisage the IBA ever doing a stadium fight? Is it something is in your ambition box?
Но мы уже наши чемпионаты мира, они собирают стадион. Вы можете посмотреть крайний чемпионат мира, IBA любительские. Я не говорю профессионал. Мы начали проводить даже любительские на высочайшем уровне. Чемпионат мира в Ташкенте, в Узбекистане вы можете посмотреть. Более 10 тысяч, арена была полная. Это любительский. А касаясь профессиональной, конечно, мы планируем проводить на стадионах 100-тысячных, 80-тысячных, где лучшие боксеры покажут свой результат. У IBA в этом большой план развития. И наша задача, чтобы не только в одной стране проходила, а в тех больших странах, где есть возможность арены большие, и там мы будем проводить. Наша задача в каждой стране, чтобы бокс стал флагманом спорта. Он так является флагманом спорта, но мы должны это усилить.
It's already powerful sport, but we need to power
Okay,
more.
hello, Ludo Sanz with Notified. I have a question for President Kremlin and also for Al Siesta. As you guys know, Latin America is a very important part of boxing. During IBA, it has been, they've been helping the development with gyms, with equipment. Now things are shifting. The way they are, and the economic situation in these countries is very there right now. How IBA Pro is going to deal with Latin America? Are there any plans soon for having an event in Latin America? When they're coming to Latin America to do boxing? Thank you.
Ближайшие наши планы проведения IBA Pro Ночь чемпионов в Мексике. Мы сейчас смотрим арены, мы хотим взять большой стадион и там провести в Латинской Америке.
Ludo, Latin America is a big part of IBA Pro and IBA in general. We're looking into Mexico in October. Big stadium, big fight is due to be announced very soon. So we are focusing on Latin America. You know, Cuba, Panama, Venezuela is always on the agenda for us, of course. Latin America has greatest fighters, one of the greatest fighters in the world. Of course, we're aiming to come there very soon, I promise.
Hello. Question for Mr. Klemova. First of all, I want to congratulate you on this amazing event that showed that box is more than just a sport. And I come from Serbia, and in the name of the Serbian boxing fans, I want to ask you, will some event like this come to Serbia in the near future?
В Сербии мы планируем проводить все большие европейские турниры и международные. Так как Сербия как страна привлекательная, там очень тепло встречают, и она безвизовая. Более 100 стран нету визы, и спортсменам есть доступ приехать, и болельщикам. Наши планы – это такой центр европейского бокса.
Умар Назарович, здравствуйте. Вопрос к вам. Умар Назарович, как вы думаете, сколько времени нужно IBA работать, чтобы во всем мире ни у кого не было вопросов, что Россия является фронтменом в боксе и мировым центром бокса?
Ну, Россия, она есть, была и будет всегда центром мирового бокса, потому что в России международные центры бокса строятся, уже есть базы боксерские, и этот опыт мы применяем на международной арене, также в других странах.
После второго боя между Биволом и Бетербиевым вы сказали о том, что третий бой нужно вести в Россию.
Мы работаем над этим, пока я не могу сказать, но идут переговоры, бой Бетербиева-Бивола провести в России, а также и бой Тайсон Фюри, может, будет в России.
Спасибо.
Предложение ждет.
Hello, this is Sports Money from China. Today we witnessed the beginning of the IBA golden era, and may I ask how much have you guys been invested in this so much big projects, and how much will be added in the future? How much money will you invest in these so many projects? Thank you, Mr. President.
Более $300 миллионов.
Hello. I've got a question for Terrence Crawford. Terrence, you say you don't care much for fashion, obviously, in boxing. However, you did come out with a fishnet against Errol Spence, along with Eminem, so you do have the potential for the spectacular. Are you sure you don't have anything in mind against Canelo?
I got something in mind against Canelo. You just gotta wait and see, September 13th.
Can you give us a little hint?
No.
Умар Назарович, салам алейкум. Ирали вот активно занимается боксом. Он уже дебютировал, выиграл Абдурозика. Возможно ли, что он будет драться в IBA? И как вы на это смотрите? Спасибо.
Ирали, мы его любим, он наш амбассадор. Вот. Для популяризации бокса, конечно, мы это поддержим. Вот. Для боев, для того, чтобы давать возможность. Мы Международная ассоциация бокса и боксерский дом. Мы создаем всем условия, которые популяризируют бокс. И будем поддерживать развитие его. И чтобы бокс был доступен для всех.
Ирали, с Тайсоном Фьюри выскочишь?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Patch Costin-Hardy from the Daily Star newspaper in the UK. First question for Umar. In the next 10 years, what does the IBA hope to have achieved?
Для IBA это самая главная международная ассоциация бокса. Она сегодня является. И наша задача создать такие условия, чтобы вокруг IBA, создание инфосистемы, чтобы IBA не зависело от спонсоров. Все финансирование должно быть именно произведены самой IBA. Вот мы сегодня видели игру, мерч мы видели сегодня, и мы дальше планируем делать разные продукты. Мы планируем создание биржи IBA, банковской сфере IBA. Это будет распространяться, и за счет всех этих коммерческих проектов вокруг IBA оно будет финансироваться боксеров и выплачиваться и призовые, и все остальное.
And just a question for Tyson as well. So the King's Birthdays Honours list was just recently announced and your name was not on there once again. Considering your amazing success in boxing, as well as the millions you've inspired with your comeback and your other charity endeavours, are you surprised that you're yet to receive an MBE or anything like that?
I think we've touched on this a few times before in the past. The only honour I'd accept is Emperor of the North. And unless they can create that for me, I'm not interested in any other orders. Emperor of the North. That's it.
Not King of the North?
Not King of the North. There's only one king.
Thank you very much, Tyson. Thanks, everybody.
Mr. Kremlev, Emilio Marquegui from Spain, Marca. Do you think will you finally work with all of the professional boxing stars, or it will be very difficult with all of them?
Мы уже работаем, потому что все профессиональные звезды, они начинали в IBA свою карьеру. Потому что так как это единственная международная ассоциация, которая с детства выращивает боксеров и вкладывает в бокс. А сегодня те, кто завершает бокс, мы будем им предлагать, чтобы они были амбассадорами IBA. А те, кто продолжает свою карьеру, мы будем им предлагать в рамках IBA Pro проводить свои поединки.
Radio Raheem here with Seconds Out. First, thanks to the IBA for inviting us. What a wonderful event. Great hospitality. Thank you for hosting us. It's called the Golden Era, and I've seen the Ali family represented. We've seen the Mike Tyson family represented. Tyson Fury is here. Roy Jones is here. Terrence Crawford is here. I asked this question to the fighters and Al Siesta. How do you define a golden era? There are so many eras of boxing represented here and so many icons. What does the golden era mean to each of you?
Golden era personally to me means exactly what's happening today. It's a new beginning, new union, and just reaching out, open the windows, open the curtains, and getting the boxing light in. That's what it is for us. Getting lots of golden light for us. It's a big, big start for us, and very soon you'll see that we'll do much more walking than talking, trust me. You'll see it very soon.
Tyson, you've recently retired. You're a fighter of your era, no question. How do you define a golden era in boxing?
I think the golden era is decided by making great fights happen, making all the best fight each other, and giving the fans what they want, the big fight nights, for sure.
And last one to you, Terrence. You're about to embark on an era-defining fight. You are certainly a fighter of your era. You say you want to be on Mount Rushmore. You just may be by the end of September. How do you define your era that you're currently fighting in, and what would make it golden?
I think, like Tyson said, you know, all the big fights being made, the best fighting the best. You know, I think that's considered the golden era.
And last one from me, we know that the IBA has had a lot to do with amateur boxing and developing talent, bringing fighters who may not have had the spotlight an opportunity to shine on a big stage. How important was the amateur career and experience to each of you, Tyson and Terrence? How important was the amateur...
Любительский бокс – это начало профессионального. И мы обязаны, чтобы у каждого золотая эра, это каждый боксер, чтобы имел свои перчатки, свой зал, где он может бесплатно тренироваться, готовиться к боям и к своему будущему готовиться. Вот это и есть золотая эра.
Amateur is so important. It's a beginning for professional boxing. It starts from amateur. It ends up in professional boxing. And our endeavors are to make that transition as smooth, as exciting as possible. That is a golden era.
Tyson, you're the type of fighter at heavyweight that people marvel at how you can move, the different angles you punch at, your defensive skills. How much of that was honed and defined as an amateur and becoming a professional? How much did your amateur experience inform your career?
I had a limited amateur experience. I only had 35 amateur fights. but it did give me the confidence to travel the world in many different countries, boxing all over in many different tournaments as an amateur, and I suppose it was definitely good grounding going forward. I've seen so many different cultures, so many different people, so many different boxing styles throughout all these world championships, Europeans and stuff. So when I was ready to turn professional at the young age of 20, I'd seen quite a lot, and I was ready to embark on my mission to become heavyweight champion.
And finally, Terrence, switching from orthodox to southpaw, the kind of skill that you've shown and people have marveled at throughout your career, how much did that come from your amateur experience and all this time in the gym and turning professional and bringing it to your current career?
Well, it definitely helped a lot, being that that's where it all started from, being able to do the things that I did as an amateur, perfected the gym. That way, when I turned professional, it was natural to me. So everything starts from the amateur. You learn all the heartaches and pain through the amateurs and the different styles that you fight, the experience that you get in the ring, the comfortability you get by fighting in different countries and different, individuals. It all comes from the amateurs.
Thanks for all your answers, and thanks again to the IBA for inviting me.
Okay, you sir, over there.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Добрый день.
Sorry.
Умар Назарович, я из Белоруссии, я близкий друг Владислава Ковалева. Сегодня вы развиваете барнакл очень сильно. Влад сегодня в российской и ММА, и в кулачных боях самый видный боец. Планируете ли вы его подписание вообще может за титул, может просто для медийки?
Есть промоутерские компании, которые занимаются IBA Barnacle. Они могут подписаться, и он может участвовать в программе IBA. IBA – это центральная площадка для всех промоутеров и бойцов Barnacle. IBA – это за титул, чтобы стать чемпионом мира, Барнакл будут спортсмены сражаться.
И второй вопрос. Вы сказали, что собираетесь развивать центры IBA по всему миру. Планируете ли вы открывать такой центр в Минске? И если планируете, то когда?
У нас все идет по очередности. Мы должны, что не на словах это говорить. Вот как мы один зал откроем, так будет следующее, последующее. И будем постепенно это реализовывать.
Спасибо большое.
Hello, my name is Marcos Melocal. I'm a journalist from Inside the Game. My question is for Chris Roberts. Are you planning to organize professional and amateur championship at the same or different years in the future?
Sorry, repeat that again.
Are you planning to organize professional and amateur championship world at the same or different years in the future?
So calendar is currently being worked up. I was discussing it with Umar yesterday. So we've got World Championship every year. We're going to be looking at 3 every year. The feed through goes directly to the professionals. So when you come to the major World Championships, we pick out our gold medalists, silver medalists, and then we feed them through to Al. This is what we're talking about with the academy, the pull-through effect. So effectively, the full calendar is up to 2028. World Championships times 3. That includes junior, youth, senior, male elite and females. And we continue to do this. Work continues, no change. Business as usual.
I'm from China. I have a question about this very controversial female boxer who won the 2024 Summer Olympics 66 kilo weight champion. I know you've already criticized this case, but in the future, how to prevent such kind of controversial result to happen again? And do you think this gold medal should be given back to the Chinese female boxer in this game?
Look, the message was clear. We went through the last 2 years of this process, and we've said everything we needed to say. At the end of the day, we have our anti-doping process, we have our male-female testing process, which we've done, we applied. Everything we've done is within the technical and competition rules. As far as giving any medals back to any other opponent, that's the task of the International Olympic Committee. That's not our business, that's their business. But as far as we're concerned, we managed the process well. We did everything we needed to do. We got asked the question in Paris. We had the press conference. President was there. We discussed all. There was no deviation from our narrative. Our narrative was correct, and we continue to do that. Why? Because it's important that the right winner wins the gold medal. At the end of the day, what's fair is fair. So, you know, I hope that's answered your question, but there's no deviation from our work. That's what we do. We stay with the neutrality, fair competition, and our rules and regulations are clear.
Okay, we'll take
Я
two.
думаю, я здесь хочу добавить, у нас есть эти критерии, мы у себя выявили о том, что, чтобы не нарушать женский бокс, это женский бокс, мужской это мужской бокс. И нельзя смешивать. Наши критерии работают четко. Берутся анализы, и по хромосомам определяется, что женщина это женщина, мужчина это мужчина. Это первое, что хочу сказать. А второе, что хочу сказать, мы никогда никого не критикуем. Мы защищаем спортсменок. Мы защищаем спортсменов. IBA – это та организация, которая гарантирует защиту спортсменов и чистоту, и прозрачности, и честности. Вот самые главные ценности. Международный олимпийский комитет, мы заранее отправили бумаги им. Заранее были отправлены, предупреждены. Сегодня они нарушили эти правила. К сожалению, они отстают от современного шага. И спустя год они приняли те правила, которые у нас уже давно работают. И, конечно, руководство бывшее должно понести, не то что медаль должно вернуть, вот лично мое мнение, как президента Международной ассоциации бокса, чтобы защищать наш женский спорт, мы требуем с них, мы их не критикуем, мы с них требуем, первое, они должны извиниться перед боксерским сообществом, перед женщинами. За то нарушение, которое они принесли. Они должны публично, непосредственно Томас Бах, его команда, кто участвовал, они должны извиниться публично перед боксерами, женщинами. А второе, конечно, они должны взять эту ответственность на себя и вернуть тем спортсменам, которые действительно заслужили. Вот, например, взять, мы же все знаем про бой Рой Джонса на Олимпиаде. До сих пор не вернули медаль ему. Вы же все помните, все боксеры знают про этот скандал. И мы также требуем, чтобы и Рой Джонсу пусть медаль вернут за такое судейство. Вот на чемпионатах мира у нас судейство нет вопросов, потому что у нас прозрачность. А на Олимпиаде всегда судейские скандалы. Это о чем говорит? Международному олимпийскому комитету мы рекомендуем начать реформы. Они уже устарели. Начать реформы и обновить систему надо. Только тогда. Сегодняшнее новое руководство, я надеюсь, новый президент Международного олимпийского, надеюсь, она начнет эти реформы. И на Олимпиаде должны быть, конечно, призовые. Медали должны быть из чистого золота за первое место. И спортсмены должны получать призовые. Вот тогда Олимпиада будет интересна. Сегодня профессиональные виды спорта более интереснее стали. Вот, когда Олимпиада вернет вот этот вот регламент, тогда они будут интересны. Сегодня, к сожалению, они падают. Из-за этого профессиональные виды спорта стали интереснее намного. Вот, нужны большие реформы в этом направлении.
Okay, this is going to have to be the last question because we're running out of time.
Can I give a question, please?
Хилола Исакова, СМИ Узбекистана. Извините, пожалуйста. Наверное, вы уступите, да? Мой вопрос Умара Кремлева. Умар Назарович, я продублирую, получается, вопрос моего коллеги здесь о центре, который мы увидели здесь на экране, который построится в Баку. Вы сказали в своей речи о том, что планируется также открыть такой центр под именем Хасамбоя Дусматова. И получается, это большая сумма. И это какая-то инвестиция в наше государство. Получается, этот центр оценивается в $5 миллионов, если я не ошибаюсь, да?
Это инвестиции будут... Сейчас он сделал Хасамбой проект, мы совместно обсуждаем. Это будет инвестиция от Международной ассоциации, потому что мы уважаем труд спортсмена. Он двукратный олимпийский чемпион и замечательно выступает в профессиональном боксе. И наша задача создавать IBA Gym, академии имени Хасанбоя, имени великих спортсменов в каждой стране.
А получается, вы вносите эти инвестиции в другое государство безвозмездно?
Да, мы это делаем безвозмездно, чтобы популяризировался бокс, и в этих залах бесплатно будут заниматься дети, которые будут выступать, представлять свою страну. Эти проекты мы будем реализовывать в дальнейшем в каждой стране, где будут именитые чемпионы, и они будут называться их именами.
И недавно, несмотря на все вот эти вот инвестиции и акции, ну, о том, что вы безвозмездно передаете перчатки, снаряжение для спортсменов, несмотря на все эти действия, были, к сожалению, разговоры о том, что IBA в какой-то мере теряет свои позиции, но мы видим, что организация процветает и продолжает свою деятельность. Кого вы считаете конкурентами IBA? Есть ли такие? Есть такая организация, которая может быть конкурентом для IBA?
У IBA нет конкурентов. А кто, покажите, кто делает тот объем работы, который делает IBA? Ну, некоторые могут муху со слоном сравнивать. Но мы же, видите, своими словами, сколько делается для спортсменов. Мы не занимаемся конкуренцией. Мы просто развиваем бокс. И наша задача, чтобы везде бокс присутствовал.
Спасибо.
Так же, как и на Олимпиаде, мы сохранили бокс, и продолжается история бокса.
Спасибо большое.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. We've run out of time. We've run out of time, I'm afraid. Oh, one more. Okay, you're the very last one. Make it quick, though.
Brian Pinelli, a freelance journalist. Question for Rashida, back to the wonderful legacy of your father. Just wanted to go back to the Atlanta 1996 games when your father lit the cauldron. I mean, how amazing was that moment? Were you there at the stadium that night? And, you know, obviously, what did that mean to the Ali family, yourself, and ultimately your father? What an iconic moment in the history of the Olympic Games.
Could you repeat that?
There wasn't a dry eye. Okay, so the question was, how did I feel when Daddy lit the cauldron at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta? Thank you for the question, sir. There wasn't a dry eye in the theater, in the auditorium at all. True story, the Olympic Committee did not tell any of the family members. It was extremely confidential when they invited Daddy to light the cauldron. And at that point, Daddy was he disappeared from the limelight for a while because he was trying to embrace his condition. Parkinson's was getting worse, and he wasn't comfortable speaking in front of the camera. He wasn't comfortable shaking. So he did disappear from the limelight for about a decade. And then when the Olympic Committee asked Daddy to light the cauldron at the opening games, he initially said no, because he wasn't comfortable showing the world his new condition. And then we thought about how many millions of people that he can help, not just people with neurocognitive conditions, people who are dealing with complicated conditions that they're embarrassed about. My dad felt that he could help other people, he could be their voice who are suffering from other conditions. So he eventually said yes, and it was a really great decision because a year after that, he had an opportunity to open up the Muhammad Ali Parkinson's Center in Phoenix, which helped people get properly diagnosed with Parkinson's and other neurocognitive diseases.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. How soon or when exactly did you and the family kind of learn about this through your dad? Because I assume it was still obviously a big secret to the rest of the world.
So the I didn't know Daddy was going to lit the cauldron until I watched it. It was a secret. They only told a handful of people, and then we had turned on I think my husband called and said, "Do you know who just lit the cauldron for the Olympic Games?" And I said, "I have no idea." And he was like, "Your father." I said, "What?" So that's when I found out. It was literally that really well-kept secret.
Okay, thanks very much. That's a great place to finish. Really good question, great answer. Thanks for that, Rashida. So that
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry. I want to invite Mr. President Nazarovich. Я хочу вас пригласить для специального объявления нашего турнира IBA Pro Epos, который мы сейчас анонсируем с вами вместе. Я хочу вас пригласить со мной. Наши ребята здесь. So for years and years, we've been telling that boxing is a platform to resolve all issues, all conflicts, and now we are presenting our IBA Pro Epos, a project which will unite nations, countries, people who are usually fighting each other, who are usually in centuries conflicts, and we're going to bring them onto one ring.
Везде, где существуют между странами конфликты, мы будем создавать соревнования между этими странами, чтобы был мир, и будем призывать всех, чтобы не было в мире конфликтов. Пусть все споры, они решаются на спортивных аренах. Мы такой проект запустили, и первый проект будет у нас боксеры из Ирана и США.
We want to welcome our boxers, Robert Moro from the USA and Hassan Yousefi from Iran. We make this unprecedented move.
Также планируем боксеры Украины и России будет у нас. Также планируем боксеры Израиля и Палестины, чтобы в мире не было конфликтов. Давайте будем лучше жить спортом, и все будут здоровы, счастливы. Спорт объединяет.
We are advocating for peace first and foremost, and we ask all international organizations to join our movement, United Nations, everybody to join our movement. Boxing should resolve all conflicts. And now I invite you gentlemen to make a symbolic face-to-face. This is a unique moment, ladies and gentlemen. Friendship and boxing are beyond of everything. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andy. I'm giving the floor to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Elena. So that wraps it up, everyone. Thanks for coming today. Thanks for bearing with us as we got through a lot of topics, a lot of very, very important topics. And of course, Fight Night is still to come. Fight Night is still to come tonight. I think boxing starts, Owl at 5:30 over the road, topped by Albert Badagaziev up against Jazza Dickens in what should be an absolutely terrific fight. So thanks once again. If you could just join me in thanking everybody on our panel here for their time and their comments today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you all again in a few hours.